Tucked between two shuttered storefronts on a quiet street sat an old thrift shop called Second Chances. The painted letters above the door had begun to peel, but the bell above the entrance still jingled like a warm welcome. Inside, the shop smelled of aged wood, old paper, and lavender oil. Dust floated in golden sunbeams that spilled through a stained glass window near the back. It was a quiet place, the kind where time moved a little slower, and memories clung to every item like a second skin. On a neglected shelf beside the window sat a porcelain teacup, once elegant, now faded, once treasured, now forgotten. Its surface bore tiny webs of wear. A long crack curved down its side like a tear frozen in time. A chip was missing from the rim, small but sharp. No price tag hung from its handle. It was as if the store itself had given up on selling it. People passed by without notice. One young woman, glancing at it, sighed and muttered, "Cracked. Can't even hold tea." She walked away to find something flawless. The cup whispered to itself, "I used to be chosen. I used to be enough." On a rainy Wednesday, when thunder echoed like an old hymn and cars hissed on wet pavement, the bell jingled. A man stepped in, shaking droplets from his coat. He looked to be in his mid-40s. His beard was speckled with gray, his eyes kind but weary, like someone who had walked through grief and still chose to love. He didn't rush. He didn't browse the new arrivals or shiny objects up front. Instead, he made his way to the back, to that dim shelf, to the quiet things. His hand stopped over the cracked cup. He lifted it carefully, as though it were something sacred. He ran a finger along the crack, not with judgment, but reverence, as though the brokenness made it more meaningful. And then, to the cup's astonishment, the man smiled. A soft, knowing smile, the kind you give to something you recognize. "You'll do beautifully," he said, almost in a prayer. The cup sat stunned as he wrapped it in a cloth napkin and tucked it beneath his coat, safe and warm. The man's home smelled like cinnamon, cedarwood, and old books. A fire crackled in the corner. Rain tapped gently on the windows like angels whispering secrets. On his work table, next to a Bible worn from use, he unwrapped the cup. The laid out tools, soft brushes, fine powders, a tiny bowl of golden resin, and tweezers that looked like they belonged to a jeweler. With reverent hands, he cleaned every fracture. He mixed powdered gold with lacquer until it shimmered like sunlight trapped in liquid. He then began Kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. But this wasn't just art. It was theology. Each stroke of gold said, You are not ruined. You are reborn. The crack that once whispered shame now glowed with beauty. The wound became the very line that made the cup unique. I don't fix to cover flaws, the man murmured. I heal to celebrate the story. A few weeks later, the man hosted a small group in his home. The room was filled with laughter, steaming mugs, and soft guitar music in the background. On a tray of mismatched cups, the golden repaired teacup stood in the center, like a crown jewel among the common. The man poured chamomile into it and handed it to a visitor. The woman receiving it paused. Wow, this cup is beautiful. Is it antique? He smiled. It was cracked, unusable, some thought, but I saw something more. It's even more valuable now, she said. The man nodded. Yes, because of where it broke and who put it back together. Now, this isn't just a story about pottery. It's about you, and it's about me, and everyone who's ever been dropped, chipped, overlooked, or dismissed. Jesus doesn't scan for the shiny, the perfect, or the polished. He walks to the back of the shelf, he sees the cracks, and he smiles, because he knows that grace looks best when it fills what the world calls broken. He binds up the brokenhearted. Psalm 147, verse 3. We have this treasure in jars of clay. 2 Corinthians 4, verse 7. So, if you've ever felt like the cracked cup, take heart. In the hands of the Redeemer, your story is not over. Your brokenness is not wasted, and your cracks are about to shine. God bless you, my friends.